Imagine a boy, just 6 years old, standing in the snow-covered streets of a small Swedish village, selling matchboxes. No wealth, no legacy, just a burning desire to create something bigger than himself. What he didn't know at the time was that this small spark would ignite a global empire. The rise of IKEA wasn't just about cheap furniture, it was a revolution. But what happened behind the scenes? Well, that's a story full of twists you won't see coming. It's 1943. A small Swedish village called Agunnaryd is about to change the world of furniture forever. Ingvar Kamprad, just 17, has a dream that seems impossible. His family didn't have money. They didn't have anything, really. But they had one thing, a will to survive. Ingvar, always resourceful, started selling matchboxes at the age of 6. It wasn't just a job, it was a glimpse of what he might become. Each sale, no matter how small, ignited something inside him, a spark that would grow into an unstoppable drive. But the world around him wasn't as kind as it seemed. Could he ever escape the harsh realities of his upbringing? Before he could make it big, tragedy struck. Ingvar's grandfather, the man who might have shown him the ropes, took his own life. The weight of that loss hung over Ingvar. It was a harsh reminder of how fragile life can be, how quickly everything can change. Yet from the ashes of that grief came the fire of determination. The personal tragedy, while devastating, fueled Ingvar's relentless pursuit of something greater than what he had known. It wasn't just about business anymore, it was about survival. And that survival instinct, it would become his greatest strength. But what would he do next? So, in 1943, Ingvar started IKEA, a company that would go on to change everything. But how could a small, unknown company in rural Sweden possibly compete with the established furniture industry? At first, IKEA was a mail-order business, just a tiny spark in the vast Swedish marketplace. But it wasn't just about business. It was the beginning of something unimaginable. Ingvar wasn't afraid to think differently. And that's where IKEA's genius began, when he realized he had dyslexia, which made tracking inventory a nightmare. He did the unthinkable. He used the names of Swedish towns and animals to label his products. Simple, yes, but it worked. It worked brilliantly. Those names became iconic, each one carrying a story, a sense of belonging. They weren't just items. They were part of something much bigger. What started as a small local operation soon turned heads far beyond the borders of Sweden. But what would happen next? No one could have predicted it. As IKEA grew, so did its reputation. And with that came the first wave of trouble. Could a company selling affordable, flat-packed furniture really compete with the high-end showrooms and established brands? The growing tension hinted at something big brewing on the horizon. But would Ingvar's vision for a more affordable, accessible future for furniture succeed, or would it be crushed by traditional giants? IKEA wasn't just selling furniture, it was selling an experience. And then, out of nowhere, one of Ingvar's employees had a game-changing idea. What if, he asked, we took the legs off a table to make it fit in a box? Ingvar jumped on it. It was genius. It was risky, but it worked. By taking something as simple as a table and breaking it down into smaller pieces, IKEA opened up an entirely new world of possibilities. This wasn't just about packing furniture in smaller boxes. It was about creating a new way to shop. A way that was faster, more affordable, and uniquely empowering for customers. But what did it mean for the furniture industry? Could this flat pack revolution take off? The flat pack was born, a concept that would forever change the furniture industry. But it wasn't just about saving money, though that was a big part of it. It was about something deeper, making people feel like they had a hand in creating their own space. The IKEA effect was born, a psychological twist that made customers love their furniture more because they built it themselves. IKEA wasn't just a store, it was a movement. The more people assembled their own furniture, the more connected they became to the brand. They didn't just own a piece of furniture, they owned a part of the experience, the journey, and the joy that came with it. But would the furniture industry and the traditional retailers accept this new reality? Or would they push back? Nothing good comes easy. IKEA wasn't just battling competitors. It was fighting a war against the very industry that didn't believe in this new way of doing things. Swedish furniture dealers were furious. They saw IKEA as a threat. They did everything in their power to shut Ingvar down, banning IKEA from trade fairs, blocking suppliers from working with them. But Ingvar didn't back down. He didn't flinch. His determination grew stronger with each challenge. What was next for IKEA? Would the company ever be able to break free from the fierce opposition surrounding it? Ingvar adapted. He created his own trade fairs, found new suppliers, including in Poland, and through sheer force of will, pushed forward. Every setback only made him stronger. But even with his ingenuity, the next battle was one no one could have anticipated. IKEA was about to face a challenge much darker than anything it had encountered before. In the 1990s, a reporter uncovered something dark from Ingvar's past, his ties to the Swedish Nazi Party as a teenager. The revelation shook the very foundation of IKEA. Could the man who created this global phenomenon really be the same man who once associated with a dark ideology? Ingvar came clean. He admitted his mistakes, but the shadow of that past followed him. Would this revelation crush the empire he had spent decades building, or could IKEA rise above it? But the story didn't end there. Allegations of forced labor in IKEA's supply chain during the 1980s surfaced, and the company faced an even bigger moral battle. The world wasn't just questioning IKEA's furniture, they were questioning its very soul. Could the company maintain its global success after all of these dark revelations, or would this tarnish its legacy forever? Despite the controversy, IKEA's reach kept expanding. By the 1960s and 70s, the world was catching on. IKEA expanded into countries like Canada, Switzerland, and Australia. Ingvar stayed true to his roots. He lived frugally, keeping the company tight-knit and under his control. But his global ambitions didn't stop there. He wanted IKEA to last forever. So he created an intricate corporate structure, a maze that shielded the company from outside influence and, more importantly, taxes. IKEA became a tax-exempt charity, with one of the largest, most powerful corporate empires in the world. But as the company grew, so did its influence. IKEA wasn't just a store anymore. It was a global cultural phenomenon. Could any company maintain such power and influence without facing its own battles? IKEA isn't just about flat packs. It's an experience. The signature maze-like layout, the strategically placed impulse buy items, the Swedish meatballs. It's all designed to make you stay longer, spend more, and become part of the IKEA family. And somehow, it works. The psychology is brilliant. The layout keeps you moving, keeps you intrigued. Once you're hooked, it's hard to walk out without buying something. The IKEA effect is real, and it's powerful. But is there something more to IKEA's success? Could it be the secret behind its ever-growing empire? Today, IKEA is everywhere. You can't drive down a street without seeing that iconic blue and yellow sign. It's more than just furniture. It's a symbol of innovation, perseverance, and overcoming the odds. Yet it's impossible to ignore the darker parts of its past. The man who built it, the man who dreamed it all, carried a heavy burden. But Ingvar Kamprad's legacy is undeniable. He changed the world of furniture and retail. And despite the controversies, IKEA continues to thrive, always reinventing itself, always growing. What do you think? Can a company with such a complicated past still be loved by millions? Or should we take a second look at the brands we support? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-blowing stories from the world's most iconic brands. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.